husband clearly had an accident, but she appeared unusually calm. Because the high heels in the car weren't hers, she vaguely says the unspeakable secret within. Joanne stands before the surgery room, outwardly seemed unaffected, but inside, she was already wounded like autumn leaves. At that moment, a man dashed toward her. It was that strange woman's husband. With the hospital's aid, the husband and that strange woman barely escaped the clutches of death, but remained in a deep coma. She didn't want to believe her husband would betray her. But when they went to the police to get their things, the glaring condoms in the basket and 2 brand new movie tickets were like a heavy hammer, hitting her heart hard. Completely shattered the last bit of Joanne's hope. Later, in the abandoned camera, Joanne discovered their degrading video. At that moment, she stared hopelessly at her comatose husband. Her internal pain pierced through her like a sharp arrow. Meanwhile, Jung Min also kept vigil at his wife's bedside. Looking at that familiar yet strange face, his heart was a mix of emotions, overwhelmed with feelings. Fate seems like a cruel playwright, weaving a suffocating story for this couple. But who would have thought these two, both betrayed, scarred souls, battered and broken, would miraculously meet and ultimately become each other's irreplaceable halves. Julianne cared for her husband in the hospital, found a short-term place near the hospital. Just as she settled in, she ran into Jung Min. It turned out he was here to care for his comatose wife too. He just stays here, oddly enough. They actually lived on the same floor. To dismiss their suspicions, Jung Min spoke first. Is your husband really on a business trip?
Yes, my husband's away. My wife is on leave.
Perhaps their relationship is as we imagine. And Julianne chose silence because the video from that camera has become the last barrier in her heart. Her husband's betrayal was like a nagging thorn that left Julianne unable to stay calm. She longed to sneak a look. The woman who captivated her husband's heart. Just then, Jung Min fortuitously appeared. The awkward moment left Julianne helpless. She hurriedly turned and left. However, Jung Min's gaze was like a deep still pool, gazing at his wife on the bed. He wished to glance too what the man who disrupted his life looked like, so he quickly walked up to Soo-yeon. He sat down without any pretense. Two strangers who had never met. At this moment, there was an unspoken connection, though they didn't speak. It conveyed deep-seated emotions, those pains and helplessness hard to express in this quiet night. Rain sounds mixed with moods, seemingly narrating silently the secrets and pains within them. At that moment, Soo-yeon summoned great courage. She caught Jung Min, who was leaving. Wait, I have something for you.
I watched the footage on the camera, but that camera, it's not my husband's.
She pulled out the camera filled with secrets and gave it to Jung Min as his eyes skimmed the screen. In that instant, his vague suspicions dissipated like mist. That very night, Jung Min sat by his wife's hospital bed, his eyes glinted with uncontagious rage. Why didn't she just die? To escape the suffocating reality, he tried to numb his pain with strong drink. Each shot of strong liquor was a protest against fate. That night, inebriated, he wandered like a lost soul, stumbling his way to Soo-yeon's door. Reeking of alcohol, he muttered incomprehensible words and barged in through the door. Soo-yeon was taken aback by the unexpected intrusion, nervously hiding in the corridor, waiting alone until dawn on that cold night. The next morning, he woke up on the cold floor. With a pounding hangover mixed with memories of last night's disgraceful behavior, regret and shame made him feel worthless. He rushed to find Soo-yeon to say sorry. I'm sorry. Soo-yeon understood him very well. After all, she's been wounded by her own marriage. That afternoon, the mediator approached them with a heavy heart. The other driver died from severe injuries causing a stroke, and the two in the crash were still in deep comas. To appropriately handle this heartbreaking tragedy, the mediator deliberated, hoping they would attend the deceased's funeral as family. This could ease the conflict and soothe the pain. However, Fate's club worked like a cunning choreographer, silently weaving their unpredictable tale. Driving to the deceased one's home with heavy hearts, hoping to work out a deal, seeking a settlement, but things didn't go as hoped. When the family learned that the strangers were actually the offender's skin, their long-held pain burst forth in an instant. In that moment, reason was consumed by rage. The family, as if gone mad, attacked the two strangers with fists and fury, as if wanting to pour all their pain and despair onto these innocent scapegoats. Faced with the family's fierce scolding, they just had to hold back and leave. Juliette's grievance in her heart was like a bitterness she could not swallow. The tragedy caused by drunk driving was clearly her husband's fault, yet she had to bear his burden. The grievances piled up in her heart, erupted like a volcano. Then, she broke down by the desolate roadside, crying her heart out. Faced with this incapable sympathy, didn't know how to voice it. He chose to stay silent. Until night fell, they decided to go home. Drink eases all worries. The two coincidentally chose the simplest way to vent. Between clinking glasses, long burdened thoughts, brought forth by alcohol's influence. Those hidden feelings were more sincere in drink. They bared their true feelings, sharing their emotional experiences. Yet when the topic touched on the future, discussing life with partners after recovery, Jung Min's previously bright smile suddenly faded. I want revenge.
How about we date? Revenge on them.
Drinking reveals deep truths. These tipsy words seem careless, yet they act like a key, opening their innermost selves. Discontent and gripes about partners, those deliberately hidden emotions, began to quietly grow in the dark. Two lonely hearts gradually drew closer by fate. Just having renewals at the hospital became a warm moment sharing life. Chatting on seaside walks, providing a harbor to express their worries. That subtle feeling, like the gentle spring rain, softly nourishing two lowly hearts, not knowing since when. In their every gesture and step, they reveal the couple's understanding, as if two destined souls finally meet. Time flows like water, feelings are like smoke. On this evening, they finally crossed the last psychological barrier. The dim lights of the hotel seemed to veil their encounter with the gentle mist. Perhaps this is a long-accumulated affection, or the most subtle revenge against betrayal.